Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Clause YouTube channel Strategic Frontlines. Today we have with us Marshal Rajesh Kumar, PVSM, AVSM retired. He's a strategic analyst. We also have Dr. Shalini Chawla. She's a distinguished fellow at Center for Aerospace Power and Strategic Studies. And today, before we start, let me tell you, Dr. Shalini is an expert on Pakistan, is a very good friend of mine also. I would like to welcome both of you to this podcast.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And today we'll discuss Munir's second visit to US and his nuclear rhetorics. We know that General Munir had visited first in June this year, and now within less than 2 months, he has made yet another visit. They say primarily to attend the retirement ceremony of US CENTCOM General Kurilla, and he's also meeting General Kane. However, in Tampa, his nuclear rhetorics, where he stated, and I just quote him, that if we are going down, we'll take half the world down. That was a very irresponsible statement, and this nuclear saber rattling, I think it puts him in the same category as that of North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un. And I think he's more logical than this chap. And this shows his frustration and poor diplomacy. However, Pakistan is known to speak this language, but it was little surprising to see that he was speaking in the US soil, and they were silent. And they are very ready to criticize North Korea, Iran, etc. when things go wrong. But when it comes to Pakistan, this particular government, it seems, has gone to put on the blinkers. So my first question is to Air Marshal Rajesh Kumar. What are your initial take on this? And why do you think is General Munir behaving so unintelligently?
Thank you for the question. So my take is very simple. That the fact that he went to US second time are indications that there is deepening cooperation between US and Pakistan. Now, if you recollect, Pakistan fits into the CENTCOM area of responsibility. And it used to be that India also was in this sector earlier, but we have been shifted to the Pacific Command now. So, so that delinking took place when the Indo-Pacific strategy was being crafted by the US. Pakistan always had maintained links with CENTCOM, and if you recollect, they had also given General Kurilla the Nishane Haider. There is a precedence so that was the pretense under which I think the general visited. What is of real concern is that nobody from the US side has commented on this statement of his. I think I haven't read the full statement, but I have read the excerpts. So my initial comment is based on the excerpts. I will look at the full transcript because some of it is not really available, but it will come in due course. But my point is that this kind of language has been used earlier, even by Russia, for example. So if you recollect Putin saying that when the threat from the West and the number of arms that were coming into Ukraine was getting a little overwhelming, he did make the statement that what good is a world without Russia in it? And he was in the nuclear context. So I think red lines as far as existence of a state are well understood in the nuclear domain. No nuclear power will allow its own state not to exist without threatening the use of nuclear weapons. So I think those kind of red lines are understood. But speaking out of context, I think this whole issue is, to my mind, all this dog whistling by General Asim Munir is something that is, I think, has the tacit sanction of the West. Because when he talked about the two-nation theory prior to the Pahalgam attack, no Western diplomat ever commented on it. And so I think this is the frustration that Pakistan is showing, because they have not been able to find any way to make any talks with India on whatever matters they feel aggrieved. And this seems to be some kind of a method, into my mind, to bring India to the negotiating table. And that appears to be their, initial thought. But I think they have been upping the ante, because I don't think they expected the Indus Water Treaty to be suspended. I think that was a move that caught them quite unawares. And they are slowly realizing the ramifications of that move. And the fact that China is now building a dam on Brahmaputra, they did, if you recollect, on the Indus Waters Treaty, China did hint that India is also a lower riparian state. So, well, if it's India's a lower riparian state and without India's consent you're going to build a dam, how do you then condemn India from building a dam, say on the Indus, for example?
Absolutely.
So the table has turned. What was the logic earlier is now reversed. So therefore, I think that the frustration is being seen. There are 2-3 elements to this frustration. The first element is that India is not talking to Pakistan. The second element is that during their Operation Wall of Lead, Banyan-e-Mahsus, there was they were not able to achieve any objectives. They were not able to show to their population that they had seriously struck, though they declared victory and made General Munir a field marshal. But the fact is that there are no videos or evidences of any suffering by the Indian population or any kind of horror of the strike, except in border areas. And there are corresponding videos of horror of being struck on the Pakistani side. So I think tacitly their population perhaps understands what has happened, but out of nationalism and pride, they are not willing to accept it. So this is the second element of frustration. And the third element of frustration is the now prolonged threat of water arbitrage by India. So there is now an element of frustration, and that element of frustration has been articulated by General Munir. And not only that, you see, there are 2-3 elements that he stated in his speech. One is that if India builds a dam on Indus, we will hit it with 10 missiles. The second one was
General Air Marshal Rajesh, Kumar, we'll just come back to it. This also issue I want to take But I'll like to bring in Shalini for this particular thing. Now, Shalini, what is your first take on this issue? What we were discussing about Munir's statement, and we know that MEA has clearly stated that this is a irresponsible remarks, which reinforces our doubt that the integrity of nuclear command and control, where the military is hand in gloves with terrorist groups. So there's clearly some problem there in the Pakistan thing, which we are clearly stating. Also, I want to ask you, how do you think the US-Pakistan relationship is going to develop? Whether it is going to remain stronger or it is just a temporary phase? Because if we see, they have stated that they have done a lot of deals with Pakistan, the Americans, especially Trump. There was a crypto deal, there was an oil deal. Also, in mining sector, also they are considering tariff rebates. And we know that mining all the areas in Balochistan, which we know is a very unstable area. So how do you feel all these things are going to span out? And what is the future of their relationship? There was also a news that General Munir had also had a meeting of chief of defense of certain Central Asian countries where General Kurilla was also present. So is the Americans also want their something to they have some kind of thing there also. So all these questions, 2 3, if you can answer, then we move to the second part.
Okay. Thank you, Roshan. Thanks a lot. Happy to be here with you. So I see this, there are some very valid points which have been raised by Air Marshal Rajesh Kumar, but I just have, couple of issues here to raise. One is that, this whole statement talking about the nuclear threat. There is yes, it has been made in Washington. That is something which is very new, and
Yes.
it is an irresponsible statement. But Pakistan using nuclear weapons for blackmail is something that has been their strategy. That is the way we have seen them, highlighting the nuclear threat at any point in time, at any point of crisis with India. May it be, we had like Operation Parakram, or we had brass track in 80s, and then we have seen it even in Pahalgam in the beginning of the conflict. When the attack happened, the threat was raised repeatedly by the railway minister and Bhutto also. So this is something which Pakistan does it, and I am not surprised by raising of the threat. Second part is which he says that I'm going to take large part of the world with me. That's a very strong messaging, where he now wants to raise the Indus Water Treaty decision of India at the global level, and he wants to create this crisis into a global crisis, that India's decision is going to lead Pakistan to something significant. So the world needs to think about it, and that's again their nuclear strategy. Because in Pakistan's behavioral pattern, if you have seen and you watch this very, very closely than anyone else, you would have seen that they want to bring the international attention to this crisis by raising the nuclear threat. So this is something that Pakistan has been doing. Second part, why they did it. Imash is absolutely right that Pakistan is very totally rattled with this decision. Obviously, the per capita water what we have seen in Pakistan is 1,000 cubic meters, and it is going to come down to 500 cubic meters in 2035, according to the analysis which has come up. So it is clearly on the path of a very, very water scarce country. It is already on that path, and this Indus Water Treaty decision of India is going to impact them later. They realize that, so they really want to raise that issue. Third part is on your question about the US-Pakistan relation. I think that is very critical. So for Pakistan, their relationship with United States is the definer of their foreign policy. This is in some way define them on the global stage. They do attach a lot of prestige to this relationship. And Imran Khan, one of the reasons for his departure was also the fact that he had really messed up the relationship with the United States. So they are extremely, delighted to be back on track of revival. US, even at the time of stress tension, if you saw, they want to keep Pakistan very cozy because they feel that Pakistan is a critical partner in terms of, counter terrorism. And we have seen in the case of, Zawahiri and Saifullah. So we have seen that US would, I mean, Pakistan, they think Pakistan is important in that aspect. And that relationship is looking like it's changing. It's on a path of revival. Yes, in US and Pakistan have entered large number of non-security cooperation dynamics, but Pakistan will be very keen on to revive the security dynamics of the relationship. And that's something which I see coming in some form back, but not fully. We don't know what happens. What it would mean is that I think it's going to embolden Pakistan tremendously. It is already done. It will not allow Pakistan to alter its behavior. It will not allow Pakistan to alter its strategic calculus. And US cannot give Pakistan this platform to have this nuclear brinkmanship rhetoric. And where this relationship is going, yes, the number of deals are being signed, but you are absolutely right that given the fact that the area is so restive, how far these negotiations and deal will actually be productive enough, we will have to see that. Pakistan, trying to collaborate with regional powers is another, step that we have seen in the last 2 months. They have really accelerated not only Central Asia, Roshan, but you see how Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So this is one of the steps that Munir is taking to revive its strategic relevance in the region, because it feels it's going to, help make it much stronger. And yes, US could see an opportunity there because Central Asia, we have seen how China has expanded there. So this could be one of the ways for the United States to, create more space in Central Asia through Pakistan. And Pakistan is definitely working very hard on the regional aspect to be able to revive its strength there.
I agree with you, Shalini, because under Munir, things, as far as Pakistan thinks, that they are looking up. Because if Central Asia, you see, they had a conference there. Bangladesh, they are trying to be cozy with them. So you have a point there. So I would like to bring in Air Marshal Rajesh. Firstly, you were talking about in this treaty. We know that during Op Sindoor, we had debunked Pakistan nuclear blackmail, and if we see the scope and targets, if we consider, it show the reach where we can hit. So it is kind of a warning to them of our red lines. So, what do you think about the Munir's rhetorics on these hitting missiles on our dams and things like that? What do you make of it? We have already made it clear that we do not give in to nuclear blackmail. That's quite clear. First thing. Secondly, I would also like you to put in a little bit of light on US-Pakistan relationship. You think it is because of Trump? And if a lot of countries we see, as far as the Trump's tariff is concerned, they have started now opposing the Trump tariffs. So if it goes on, so maybe Trump is isolated and it might change his tactics or something, because he's a very mercurial person. He says something today and he does something tomorrow. So what are your views? Do you think that Pakistan-US relationship will stay, it is there to stay, or it's a temporary phase? Your views.
So I will take the first part first as to what General Munir's take on India is. If you look at the thread of his statements, like I was saying, the first part is that he revived, in April, the two-nation theory. This was before the Pahalgam attack. Subsequently, after all his claims of victory in Op Sindoor, he then made a statement about hitting India where it's vulnerable in the east. Subsequently, he has now made these statements on US soil about destroying any dam on the Indus. Second, taking the world down with them in case their existence is threatened. And thirdly, he interestingly also said that Mr. Mukesh Ambani is a legitimate target. Such a diverse set of statements indicates that that the radical streak in him is now starting to show up. Everybody thought that because he was educated in a seminary, that he'll have a little bit of radical streak in him, but it will probably get tempered by all his his experiences and the manner in which the Indo-Pak relationship has progressed. There are certain realities that everybody does work with. So in track 2 discussions, etc., everybody understands the realities and the kind of pathways that could be made towards managing the relationship. I think he's quite impetuous. It was shown when after, if you recollect, when there was these rallies by Imran Khan's party in Lahore, and the corps commander's house was ransacked in Lahore. He had called a meeting of all the senior officers of Pakistan, and he had threatened them and their families who had ever thoughts of siding with Imran Khan to kind of put them away. So he's extremely radical and very, very extreme in his views.
I
so
think
his personality
basic
itself,
nature doesn't change.
yes, his personality itself is very extreme. And therefore, these kind of statements, which normally a statesman would not make, and he is in the position of a statesman. Now he's a field marshal, and I don't know for how long now he will head the Pakistan Army, because field marshal is supposed to be for life. Now, is he going to be the chief for life? I don't know. Time will tell. There are thoughts about him wanting to become the president as well. So,
Yes.
Again, time will tell. But we will have to deal with General Munir for some time. And we need to craft a strategy which, understanding his personality. So I think that some of these threats are out of frustration, like I said, in the past, because everything that they've tried hasn't really worked for them. So I think the only lever that they're going back to, they're bending backwards to accommodate US, trying to get into their good books and leveraging the US against India. Now, this may bring about some strain in the relationship with China.
That I want to take into the next step when we
Fair
go.
enough. I just want to mention it here, that it could cause some strain in the relationship, but it won't break their relationship. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So they are now, having failed to leverage China against India, they are now trying to leverage the US against India. And as far as the US is concerned, unfortunately, if you leverage the US against India, the European bandwagon of the US also gets attached, though they may not say it openly. So this is a real concern. As far as US-Pakistan relations go, US is always very happy to have a client state. And if Pakistan is willingly offering to become a client state, I think they won't be they won't be displeased at all. So we have to understand that even at the height of the best relations that India has had with the US, whether it was the Clinton era or the Bush era, or even as early as Donald Trump's first tenure. Uh, the fact is that administration and military was somewhat with us, but we never had the State Department with us. State Department still consists of a lot of cold warriors in the US who still look at world through the Cold War lens, and therefore they are not really enamored with India. They do see India as a useful market, but not really in strategic terms. So this strategic relationship that was being built, uh, it appears that it wasn't deepened sufficiently between India and US. So therefore, Pakistan always has the leverage to offer itself as a client state. And earlier, its geopolitical position vis-a-vis Afghanistan was useful. Now it seems that the geopolitical position vis-a-vis Central Asia is of use. So I think the US is very keen to step into the vacuum in Central Asia, where
There, what you are saying, maybe probably the deep state in US, they are trying to be more active, and through Trump, they are trying to get in what you're talking about. Because Trump also, if you see, he is a very mercurial character. So predicting anything from him is also very difficult.
no, I think he,
So
he
maybe
is.
he is more into transactional kind of
Yes,
a
that's what I was
relationship.
going to say. He is more transactional.
He's not foreign policy based kind of a thing, but he's more into, he has two aspects. First is the transactional thing, what we are talking about, and second is his personal ambition. That also plays a lot of role, and in that bargain, the actual foreign policy may be taking a backside. That also can be said, because his two main major aim is, firstly, he keeps saying about the Nobel Peace Prize, and the second is that his own personal ambition as far as the economics is concerned, the family or things like that. So those also play a very important role, which
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And in fact, so not really mercurial, I would say he is transactional. Okay. And, sometimes when you become too transactional, you become too smart for your own good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a foreign leader can come on US soil and issue nuclear threats to the world, does the
Absolutely.
US president deserve the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very valid point. That's
So,
very
so,
valid.
so when you become too smart for your own good,
Yes.
you end up tying yourself in knots. Because transactions on top of transactions, then suddenly, a lot of, the undercurrent then starts surfacing. And this is exactly what has happened. So if he says that he prevented a nuclear war between India and Pakistan, suddenly now Pakistan is issuing nuclear threats on his soil. So what
Yes.
has he really prevented?
That is the biggest irony, if you see.
So I think the irony is lost on him.
Yes.
And I think if one of the reasons I could speculate as to why the US hasn't made any statement on the issue is they also don't know how to react, because they don't know Trump's mind. I think they will go back and forth with Trump on this issue, and maybe sometime later they might come up with a statement that that is crafted, or is balanced, or is well thought out from their strategic perspective. So I think this is a serious issue. It was not going to go away so quickly.
Absolutely.
And you can't make these kind of statements and so I think this is also an
Get away with it.
opportunity for India to
Yes.
use information,
Yes.
narrative to press home its point,
Yes.
and that Pakistan is an irresponsible nuclear state.
Yes, I think we started doing that, because the MEA statement which has come out is quite clear. If we see that,
Yes,
that was quite clear.
but MEA statement by
So,
itself is not good enough.
no,
It
but I
has
think it'll pick up. I think sooner or later it will pick up. And what you said is right. You need to highlight this irresponsible behavior of General Munir at all the platforms. You cannot do that. So you keep criticizing about North Korean leader. You are no less. You are the same. There's hardly any difference between the two of them. So I would like to bring in Shalini here. Shalini, Air Marshal Rajesh also pointed out about the China angle. So, how do you think China is going to view these visits, considering nearly that 80% of the defense of Pakistan is from China? And without China's help, Pakistan could not do anything. We know
Yes.
that even in Op Sindoor, we saw that whether it was information or missiles or whatever was provided by the Chinese. So, how do you think the relation between the two is going to be? Whether it'll be a little bit weakened, or do you feel Pakistan will play each other and try to get the best deal from both of them?
I
But
think
it
the
is a
last
little difficult thing because when you walk on two ships, you're bound to get drowned. So,
No, you are right, Roshan. It is a complicated situation, but what we have seen in Pakistan's history from the time it started its U.S. alliance in late 50s, 60s, and same time U.S. alliance with China in the mid 60s it started. This is the only country which has managed the relationship between China. At the same time, it has managed relationship with US and China. Very, very judiciously it has managed, getting the best out of both. This they have managed and they have sailed through. We have seen it in the last 50, 60 years. So my personal view is at this point in time, if you ask me about how China will react, if you look at the China.
Shalini, I'll just tell one thing because in the past, China and US there was a kind of a cooperation, but now if you see, they are on loggerheads in many of the areas. So the competition is there, and then confrontationist attitude is also there. So it may not be that easy for Pakistan to go in for both as it was earlier.
Yeah, you to some extent. I mean, this is a point which needs to be kept in mind when you are analyzing this relationship for sure. That there is a change in the dynamics between U.S. China. It's not the same what we had in the say 10 years back or 20 years back. But what I feel when we look at this alliance, China and Pakistan, I see it as a very, very secure alliance from both sides. And we have never seen anything coming from China whenever Pakistan is getting close to United States. In fact, in the current situation, I have a feeling, barring the fact that there are stresses and how this will shape up, we don't know because wherever it's President Trump, you just don't know about the future dimensions. But what I have felt in the last say 10 years, that China rather feels that they are not uncomfortable with Pakistan getting close to United States, because whatever Pakistan manages to get out of this revived relationship. For example, one of the things that you would see that it manages to get the loans from international financial institutions with much more ease, which actually releases the burden on Chinese. Uh, Association with United States will have the implications on Pakistan, which China actually wants. It will embolden Pakistan, which China wants. It will have Pakistan to have a much more aggressive posture against India, which again suits China's strategic interests. So as far as this relationship is catering to China's interests and it is not going against Chinese strategic interests, I think this should be okay with the Chinese will be okay with that. Given if you see the United States on the other hand, they have also never objected to this alliance with China, Pakistan's alliance with China. And they have been very clear in all, we have seen in the last, say, 10, 15 years, that they have tried to keep Pakistan in a very cozy kind of a situation. But with this revival, what I said, the Chinese, I don't think will react till they start feeling that some things are going against their interest, and which I think Pakistan will manage it very well. There are problems within Pakistan in terms of the CPEC projects, the safety of the Chinese. Those things are there, but not big enough to dent the alliance, because the alliance is very, very deep, and we have seen it, like you rightly said, that their entire equipment is from the Chinese. And in the past, there are cases of reverse engineering from the US equipment,
Yes,
which China
Tomahawk
has.
is a classic
Yeah,
example of
Tomahawk is
that.
a classic example. So
Yeah.
I don't see it a problem as of now. But yes, how things shape up, we don't know. But if the Central Asia point is very critical, because that is one area
Yes.
which both of you pointed out, that could be seen, in contradiction to what the Chinese want there, because they are also very aggressive in Central Asia. So that is one area where I feel there could be some point of conflict which could occur. But other areas, I right now at this moment I don't see a conflict.
Air Marshal Rajesh Kumar, would you like to add in as far as the China's relationship with Pakistan is concerned? How do you
Yes.
think it's going to be the same? It's going to deteriorate, or it's going to be further strengthened as days pass off? And Shalini also pointed out about the Central Asian thing. There also, you feel that the Chinese want, the Americans want their say in the Central Asian area also, trying to neutralize the Chinese and the Russians there. That's why they think that they can use the Pakistanis, or it is too far fetched. Your
So I
point.
will say this, that the heartland theory is coming back into prominence, and Central Asia seems to be now the new battleground. If you look at events that have been happening in Central Asia, the first step has been by the West has been to disengage Central Asian republics from Russia. So if you look at what has happened recently with the Armenian Azerbaijan Accord,
Yes.
so Armenia is now being brought into the US orbit. Azerbaijan, by virtue of being an ally of Turkey, is now, again getting detached from Russia. And Kazakhstan and all the other stans that are nearby, slowly you are seeing inroads being made by the West in terms of giving mining technologies and developing oil resources, etc., etc. Now, China has been trying very hard to, especially in Kazakhstan, been trying very hard to establish some kind of a base there. Now, Kazakhstan is a very interesting country because it's a huge country with hardly any population and large oil and gas resources, so, as well as other mineral resources. It's not just oil and gas. They are virgin, they haven't been mined, they are there. I think everybody has their eye on them. If you look at the US also, US has been eyeing mineral resources outside Africa. In the past, Africa has been seen as some kind of a source of raw materials. But looking at the number of conflicts in Africa, I think the West finds Central Asia much more amenable because they're much more, stable republics, and they find that is an area where they could get in. Now, so here I will talk about two or three things that are some friction points between between Pakistan and China. Uh, One is, of course, when this whole ceasefire took place, China was not consulted. When Pakistan asked for ceasefire, they were only talking to the US. And the fact that they were using Chinese weapons, that is now, China did express a rare comment on that issue after after the ceasefire. Um, and so I don't think they were very pleased that they were not consulted. Secondly, this whole Central Asia, competition. If Pakistan is going to, advance US interests in Central Asia, then definitely they will clash with the Chinese interests.
With the Chinese. Yes.
So, and thirdly, we keep talking about this transfer of technology, then reverse engineering. I think they got a free pass in the past. Um, uh, Actually, the Tomahawk they had recovered from Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
So, so uh, somewhat of a free pass, but even exercises with China. First Pakistan exercises with Western countries, learns their tactics and teaches those tactics to China. Now, they had gotten away with it. In fact, China had been getting foreign pilots also to teach their pilots these tactics. So that was not looked upon well by the Western powers. And I think this series of exercises that they're having, they're now keeping a close watch on it. In fact, all American equipment, I think they have some measure of control. There are some US people close to that equipment so that this technology does not get transferred
China.
to China. For example, they have the AMRAAM C7 missile. Now, AMRAAM C7 missile, if they transfer it to China, China will reverse engineer it straight away. So as it is, maybe some of that technology has gone to them. That's
Through
why they
this
have
route.
created the PL-15 and the PL-17 series of missiles. So they used to get a free pass in the past, but now looking at China's technological prowess, I think they will stop getting a free pass on this issue at least. So there are a couple of tension points, but as far as the Pakistan-China relationship is concerned, it is not going anywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, China needs Pakistan to keep India off balance. So they will tolerate some little bit of nonsense here and there, unless their interests get threatened very significantly, and it's not going to change overnight. But I think let's see what happens in this SCO meet
But Air
between.
Marshal Rajesh Kumar, I wanted to ask you this also. Suppose our relationship with US is not going that great. So isn't China, I mean, they wanted right from the beginning that we should not be too close to the US.
So unfortunately, for India, our balance of relations which we had with the West and with Russia and with China and with Pakistan, that is undergoing a shift because West is now no longer seen as trustworthy. They only seem to be people who lecture you and not really people who support you when the chips are down. So it's very good to have platitudes and these moral this thing. That is the position the West seems to want us in. All the time going to them, presenting our case, they being the arbitrator. So they want us in that position. They don't want to see us in a position where they have to take any sides. And but yet they are very happy to tell us to take sides. So there is a bit of a dichotomy there, but I think that there is more appreciation now of India's position in European capitals at least.
Yes.
But
No, I think our economy is doing very well. So most of the European Union countries, they also want to diversify their economy and they want to have less dependence on the Americans. Though it's a long-term process, but they will also be looking for markets. So I think there we have an advantage.
no, but as far as the market is concerned, we also want market access from them.
Yes,
So
it's a, yes,
that's
we also want
where
to diversify.
yes. So I think some countries in Europe have started looking at India's point of view more favorably. US seems to be now a very, very transactional partner. Um, we will be able to get something from them if we give them something. And
I think
and
US also, we need to wait for some time and see,
yes,
because
we will
everything
wait.
is not going right for the US also. Like if you see Spain, Switzerland, they all refuse to take F-35s. So there are a lot of backlash also building up. So we need to be a little patient and see how things work out.
So the
I would,
F-35
yeah,
specifically is maybe a different kettle of fish. The reason is that I think the countries looking at the performance of the F-35 are now starting to back out, because it's a hugely expensive aeroplane,
yes,
difficult to maintain, and now you've seen 2 3 accidents that have cast doubt on its performance,
yes,
as well as when it became unserviceable in India, that was watched very closely. Now it's become unserviceable in Japan. They're finding, so the logistics change. So
yes,
just buying a fighter aircraft is not just about having the capability. It is also about sustaining that capability. And that
yes.
sustainability needs to be sustained in economic costs, in logistics costs, in terms of
Yes,
technology costs. I think some people are finding it hard, and they're perhaps using this trade lever as an excuse to back out of the project, because they couldn't have backed out of it otherwise, because they had signed contracts that would have made them pay very very heavy penalties. But then, using trade as an excuse, they can kind of wriggle out of what some of them feel is perhaps too expensive, and not easily maintainable. So F-35 could be, those kind of dynamics could be playing out there. But in terms of US and where it's going, and we have to wait and watch, I agree with you. You see, midterm polls will decide whether Trump is able to retain his thrust to try to do something new every day, or will he then become a lame duck president? It's the American people who will finally decide whether
yes.
they still want
Now,
Trump's policies.
here there is another question. There's just another question. I'll just interrupt for a small bit. Before we take the questions from the viewers, I would like to ask both of you, first, starting with Shalini. Pakistan is also trying to strengthen its defense relation with Turkey. It's building, if you see the naval area, it's building corvettes for her, and they're doing the Ataturk naval drills. Then, as far as the air wing is concerned, they have got T-129 attack helicopter and fifth generation fighter jets under the Khan program. They're trying to co-build. They are also having Bayraktar and Akinci drones, which they're interested in doing it. In spite of having a weak economy, they are, both the countries are trying to come together and help each other. So how do you think it will fructify, and what will be the impact?
So I think, you see, Pakistan Turkey relationship has been going on a upscale for the last few years. It's not new. Yes, Turkey's position during Operation Sindoor and this conflict was very strong. It was one of the few countries which kind of only countries which objected to it and condemned. Even China in their statement said regret, but Turkey really took a very very different position, and we also reacted. So they have been collaborating. Defense collaboration is a very strong part of this collaboration. Turkey's defense industry in the past, yes, right now the economy is not doing well, but this has been a country which has had a good record of defense production. They have also been refurbishing the F-16s, Pakistan's F-16s, in the past that we have seen. So this collaboration is there, and that's going to grow because Pakistan wants to diversify. If you remember, Imran Khan also raised up an issue about creating a parallel, alliance with Turkey, Malaysia, which did not go well with Saudi Arabia. So we have had those. So I think what the mindset that you have in Turkey right now and the mindset that you have in Pakistan right now, Asim Munir, is totally in sync. So we see
Sync,
that
absolutely.
this collaboration going further. There will be Pakistan is going to be trying more and more collaboration, and for Pakistan, defense collaborations become very essential because that is something which it takes as a image build up collaboration. And especially now with Munir, one thing that all of us need to we are understanding is that Munir is one critical objective has been to revive the image of the military within the country and outside the country. So this collaboration, I see it kind of flourishing. Yes, despite the fact that the economies of the both the countries are not doing well, there are instances where they have kind of taken into consideration a third country. Like for one of the projects, Azerbaijan has come in,
Azerbaijan is there,
and they
yes.
have kind of put in some money that they will put up the industry there,
Yes.
manpower. So those kind of collaborative projects, I think, are likely to gain momentum, and more momentum you will see that the optics in terms of the military exercises with Turkey is going to gather
Yes.
more, because Turkey is also looking for friends and Pakistan is looking for more alliances. So both the objectives are matching, the ideologies are very much in sync, and the
Birds of
mind.
same feather flock together. You can
Yes.
say that. Yeah. Air Marshal Rajesh Kumar, quick point before we take questions. There are a lot of questions from the viewers also. Would you like to comment on?
So quickly, I do agree that Turkey-Pakistan relationship is on the upswing. Um, uh, the limiting factor there is the economies of the two countries, and they are happy to collaborate. Turkey is looking for markets. I would, as far as this relationship was concerned, I think there was a um, the ambassador to Turkey was probably, interviewed, and he seems to have indicated that this arms transfer to Pakistan is purely transactional. He says, you also please buy from us, words to that effect. We are ready to sell to anybody. What he wasn't probably pressed on was that if you're selling arms, that's fine, but why are your people there during an operation? That part is very critical. The fact that two of the casualties that occurred on the Pakistan side during Op Sindoor were Turkish nationals. So that is of course a cause for concern. Um, the fact that these two will get together, I don't think Turkey has high technology. They have production capacity, which is their strength. They have been producing F-16s. They have a vibrant defense industry, but as far as real high tech is concerned, they don't have it yet. In niche areas, maybe, for example, UAVs. But then the kind of UAVs that they have heavily invested in are these male UAVs, that is the medium altitude, long endurance.
Altitude, yes.
Now these seem to be very vulnerable. If Houthis can shoot down 15 or 16 MQ-9 Reapers, then Akinci in a peer competition will not this thing. And then you saw that during this whole Op Sindoor crisis, none of these systems made an appearance. So there are limitations to this. It's great to have in peacetime. It's great to show off in front of everybody. But during actual hot war, the utility of some of these elements is quite questionable. The other part is that uh, does this have potential to become stronger in the future? Definitely. We must understand that despite the low base that Pakistan has of intellectual capacity, you see a large number of the population is uneducated, but the people who are educated, they actually have brains. They are from the same stock as India.
Yes.
So they are capable of producing stuff. It's just that they haven't acquired some critical mass as yet. So which
The
could
base is
happen.
not there for them. So that's the basic thing.
Yeah, so the capital as well as the intellectual capital, both of them have to come together for them to kind of get into these high technology areas. So for high technology, I think Pakistan will continue to depend on US and China, and with Turkey, they will look at producing
Low-end
another set,
technology.
another set of equipment which is not as high tech.
High tech. The first question I'll take, it is from Mr. Thadani. He says that it appears that the Field Marshal Park is playing a new track, but on a closer examination, it's the same old wine in a brand new bottle. US, Pakistan, China all over again. Your views. Any one of you can take this.
So, can I take? Yeah. So
Yes.
yes, he's right. That's what, like, we were discussing. You're absolutely
Yes.
right. Pakistan's use of nuclear threat is not new. They're raising this issue to attract global attention is not new. Being it done by the army, the field marshal, all in all, Superman who has become in Pakistan is not new. But what is new here is that it's being done on the US soil, and something like this cannot be accepted. It should not become a norm. And what kind of example it is laying for the states of that mindset is something that I think needs to be taken into very strong consideration. And this is something which will have repercussions. So yes, it's the same path that Pakistan is walking, but right now it's walking holding United States hand.
Marshal, Rajesh, there's a question for you. This is from our DG, Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh. He wants to ask you that is this a response by Munir to retract Indus Water Treaty abrogation and drag or entice Trump once again into the Indo-Pak relation, considering he's saying it there in US?
Yes, I think I addressed this when I was speaking. Uh,
Yeah.
it is definitely the Indus Water Treaty suspension has rattled Pakistan. Um, they probably didn't react early enough when it was suspended, because they were expecting an Indian kinetic attack. Because India had also, if you recollect, given many indications that we were going in for a kinetic attack. I think PM himself stated very early on the 23rd that it will not go unpunished. So, I mean, that was what it was. Then, in Rajnath Singh, in a seminar about 7 or 8 days later, when he was being asked, what is India going to do? Why hasn't India done anything yet? And what he said was, आप लोग जो चाह रहे हैं वो जरूर होगा. So, I mean, more than that, I don't think any indication could be there. So, and they were primed for this at that particular point in time. Their prime minister, sorry, not prime minister, their foreign minister said that we have, they are going to attack any time. Then the defense minister said within next 3 days or whatever, we have got intelligence. So they were focusing on the kinetic part of it. But I think after the kinetic part got over, perhaps looking at the way in which we managed to desilt our dams, they started seriously looking at the Indus Water Treaty, and then I think reality started hitting them, and then they realized that they have to get India on the negotiating table. And so they want to involve the US, leverage the US to get India onto the table, and this thing. And interestingly, India had asked for a renegotiation of the treaty many times.
Many
They had
times,
never
yes.
responded. So, in some respects, if we actually sit down and discuss, whenever we decide to sit down and discuss, or if we, ever decide to sit down and discuss the Indus Water Treaty, I think it will not be in the same shape and form.
Yes, it was
that
very
it is.
one-sided, actually.
This one-sided thing will not be in the same shape and form.
Yeah, there's another question linked to it.
Yes,
Youngsters
I
also
read that
asking-
question.
Yeah,
That
do you
you
also
also
link
link
this
this
to
to
the
the
recent statement of Marshal HP Singh?
Absolutely. You see, I told you the frustration that they were not able to cause any level of damage to India and not show their population some substantive proof that they had, caused some damage. And then the air chief's, uh, claims of the number of aircraft shot down by Pakistan, I think that really must have hurt them. And this is the reason why he chose to react. Now, this is again, I come back to his personality. Uh, my view is that if he had been a little more mature and a seasoned politician, he would have waited to come back to India, to Pakistan, and then make the statement. But by making a statement on US soil, he was, appears to be in a hurry, to
Yes.
respond, to react, be, one up. So it's Pakistan's policy of quid pro quo plus. So they have to go plus, whether it is statement, whether it is action, whatever it is. So I think I think he may have jumped the gun a little bit. Maybe
It was a bit
I don't know
early, I think.
if Air Chief Marshal AP Singh actually timed his statement, but this is what is. I think Air Chief
There's
Marshal.
one more. There's one more question. It is by Kailash Joshi. He says the next 5-10 years will be the most turbulent in Indian politics, both domestically and internationally. India needs to come out of this strongly to be a new global power.
Yeah, can I take this? Yeah.
Please take.
Yeah, I think something what we have in terms of the emerging dynamics, it looks like that, because in the region we are trying to kind of hold things together. We are working hard. Yes, with Maldives we have kind of managed to reach a place. We are with Sri Lanka, yes, but then we have pockets which need to be sorted out, like Bangladesh. And at the global level, again, we have this. These issues coming up, and then we have Pakistan, its alliance with China, and its alliance with United States. But I think India is what Air Marshal Rajesh also raised at the beginning, and Roshan also talked about it, that they are going to be turbulent, yes, but then India's economic growth is something which has to be kept up, and that is something which will manage these challenges well. Second part will be our military modernization, which has been talking about. The concerns have been raised by our air chief repeatedly about strengthening the capability within. And thirdly, very importantly, our nuclear signaling has to be very strong, to something what Pakistan has done. A very strong messaging from India is already there, but I think we need to be maybe more vocal about it. Pakistan can talk about using the nuclear threat, but India's restrained and responsible nuclear posture is about no first use. But we have the doctrine of massive retaliation in case we are hit. So I think Pakistan really needs to get this messaging very, very strongly. And PM Modi, on his July in Lok Sabha, his speech, he very clearly outlined the three
Yes,
aspects of Operation
absolutely. The nuclear blackmail will not work with us.
Not be tolerated. So I think that signaling from India about countering this nuclear threat has to be extremely strong to be able to, overcome all these challenges.
There is one more question related. Ricky Malhotra, he wants to say that is it the situation in Balochistan that he uses it to divert attention to India?
See, for Pakistan, this has been, you're absolutely right, Ricky. Pakistan's strategy has been from the beginning to divert attentions from the domestic issues. And for that, the most optimal distraction for Pakistan military has always been India. And when you see Pahalgam, why Pahalgam happened? Before Pahalgam, if you see the crisis in Pakistan, it was dealing and grappling multifold crisis. Economy was in shambles. Politically, there was issues that need to be settled down. Imran Khan is making noises. Balochistan, BLA there has now collaborating with Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan. TTP is launching relentless attacks. So there have been issues, and yes, India does serve as a distraction for the domestic audience there. And what you see, what happened after they attacked the India factor, certainly just united whole of Pakistan. The whole society, which was so polarized because of Imran Khan's popularity, the whole society which was kind of raising slogans against the military, the same people now came out on the street praising the military and making Asim Munir hero. So suddenly India changed the dynamics. Before the crisis, before Pahalgam, it was nothing. But suddenly after Pahalgam and Operation Sindoor, Pakistan is like, revived internally. It's the image of the military. It has managed to create its relationship. It's managed to be, back on track with the United States and, like Central Asia, what Roshan says, and other regional actors it's building up to. Yes, to your point, India serves as a distraction for Pakistan.
The one last question: do we play our diplomacy on moral grounds? When I listen to Western geostrategic thinkers, they say double game is the bedrock of any foreign relations. This is what Kailash Joshi wants to ask. So probably Air Marshal Rajesh Kumar, you would like to answer this?
Yeah, sure. I'll take this on. See, firstly, I am not a geostrategic academic, so to speak. I'm more of a practitioner. So the point is that what is double game really? Some people call it double game, other people call it national interests. So one will always act in national interest. They may speak a different language in terms of morality and in terms of international law. Uh, we must remember that international law on conflict has been written after huge amount of bloodshed, mainly in Europe. So I think many of these laws have come about by the horrors of war, and they seem to be working to some extent to mitigate some of the more barbaric, outcomes that warfare actually brought about. And But eventually, uh, if they are some kind of guiding principles in terms of diplomacy, they get abandoned very fast once national interests are at stake. So, uh, when it comes to Europe, they're quick to point out about Russian oil to India, but they are buying Russian gas. So,
Yes.
when it comes to their own interests, these principles get thrown out of the window. Now, is it double talk? Is it a bluff? One can't say. The point is that foreign offices will speak a particular language of the government, but they have very little control over corporate structures and others who are actually acting in economic interests. There are, in fact, in India also, when the West tells us to stop buying Russian oil, is the Indian state buying Russian oil? No, it is the companies who are buying oil. They are buying oil because they find it cheap. It's as simple as that. So, did India issue an instruction to the companies that please buy Russian oil? No. So, how do you expect them to issue a statement to the companies that
Not to buy.
not to buy oil? What Indian government has been telling the companies is follow the international sanctions law. So, if the companies want, if the West wants that India should not buy Russian oil, they should ban it for everybody.
Yes.
If you say I'm going to give sanctions to anybody who buys Russian oil, whether it is Europe, whether it is China, whether it is India, then everybody will abide by it. Whatever sanctions that they have,
No, the fact is
you
there
know,
are double standards, and that's
yeah.
how
So
they
it
say
is
might
it
is
is
right.
it is
So
double
sometimes
talk.
people try
I
to
mean, I
push
wouldn't
you.
call it double talk. I will say more of acting in national interest is always going to be the bedrock of foreign policy and international relations.
No, and the thing is, India has changed. India is progressing. India's economy is good. I mean, it is. We will be say the third largest soon. So we are a power to reckon with, and we will not listen to uh, things which are not in the interest of our country. So I would like to thank both Dr. Shalini Chawla and Air Marshal Rajesh Kumar for coming today and spending your time here and for this lovely podcast. And we talked so many things. We not only discussed about Munir's statement, but also the US-Pakistan relation, US-China relation, and US-Turkey relation. And I would also like to thank all our viewers for today's podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you.